had Frontierland Station, which is where we're heading, only now we call it New Orleans Square Station. Alright? The two trains, we have the Ratlaw 1, which was a passenger train, so it featured enclosed cars, and then we had the freight, or the Ratlaw 2, which was our freight train. Now, have you guys ever heard of the name or company Ratlaw?
Yeah.
What is Ratlaw?
Walter spelled backwards.
Bam! It is Walter spelled backwards. It was also the private-owned company that Walt Disney created as a means of maintaining control over certain aspects of Disneyland. After all, Walt Disney did not own Disneyland. It was a company at the time. So anything that operated within the park was not his. However, by owning the Disneyland Railroad, the Disneyland monorail system, and Walt Disney's Hidden TV Room, owning those under Ratlaw and then allowing them to operate within the firm of Disneyland, that gave him control over it. So that meant whenever somebody bought a ticket and then used that ticket on one of those 3 rides, the money that went to pay for that ticket went to him. So that was his way of recouping costs. After all, he did invest a lot of his own money into the park, so he had to make it back somehow. Alright? So we have the Ratlaw system, is basically what we had. We continued the Ratlaw until the 60s, and when we get there I'll tell you all about it. Now, right now we are at the original Frontierland station. We still have it. We call it the old station now. It's mainly just for looks, but it's this station, this building over here on the left-hand side. You'll see it as we pass by it. It's a beautiful cream-colored building, and it's got an oddly shaped roof on it. Now, there's a really funny story about that particular building. Originally, it was used on one of Walt's earlier films as Deer to My Heart, which was one of the first live-action animated films that Walt Disney worked on. It took place in a small Midwest town that housed the train station. And, you know, when they were done filming the movie, Walt's friend Ward had his own backyard railroad, just like this one, and he needed a station that would fit with the size and scale of the train. So Walt gave Ward the movie set piece of the train station used for that film. Now the only thing was, because it was a movie set piece, it only had 3 walls. That way they could fit the camera and the lights and everything in there. And it was very flimsily built. It wasn't very structurally sound. So Walt gave it to Roy under the condition that he has to build it on his own. So he had to do it all himself. And there were no instructions. He had to put it together based on how the paint chips and the wood set. So it took Ward some time to build it. And as we go by, you'll notice that the roof is very oddly shaped. And once he put that roof on the building, the whole structure collapsed on itself. Yeah. So he had to rebuild it all over again, and this time he made sure to build it to better stable. Put the roof on, repainted it some really weird colors, because Ward Kimball was a very eccentric person. Yeah, simply put. And boom, he had his train station. Now a few years go by, and Walt Disney decides that he wants to build his own train station for Frontierland. So he goes back to Ward and says, Ward, I'd really like to have that train station back. And Ward says, no way, Walt, that's my station. You gave that to me as a gift. That would be Indian giving. Get your own station. So Walt did. He went back into the archives of the studio. He found the blueprints to the movie set and made a few adjustments. Obviously, he made it a functioning station. He gave the 4th wall and made it, originally it was a single side load. He made it a double side, so you have the building, and then you've got 2 bullpens on either side of the station. That way, you can house more people for the train. Now, the specific train that was assigned to Frontierland was the freight train, the Ratlaw 2. Now, I forgot to mention that each station was assigned to a train. Ratlaw 2 had Frontierland, Ratlaw 1 had Main Street. So the trips back then were full trips around. You got on a Main Street, you got off, and vice versa for Frontierland. So you'll see the station as we pass by. I don't think you'll hear the clicking sound. I think they've turned that off for the time being. But on any other day, you can hear Morse code, and that's Morse code for, to all who come to this happy place, welcome. And which is pretty nice. Of course, that's the first two lines of Walt Disney's opening. There it is right there. Walt Disney's opening day dedication speech. But not a lot of people know is Lilly and Disney, Walt's wife, took telegraph lessons in the 50s. So that's actually a recording of her doing the telegraph. I'll continue when we get out of the tunnel here. It's a little loud.